Love Island viewers have been on the edge of their seats for weeks waiting for Gemma Owen to drop her famous dad bombshell. But there was a lot of disappointment during Thursday night's episode, as the supposed big reveal over her identity as Michael Owen's daughter was barely worth mentioning. What made it even worse is that dumped Islander Ikenna confessed that they all found out within the first couple of days in unaired scenes. In a damp squib of a moment that you'd be forgiven for not even hearing, Antigone asked, "Sorry, excuse me if I'm being ignorant, but is your dad like very well known? He played for England, right?" Gemma confirmed this was the case. Then when asked by Ekin-Su if she liked David Beckham's sons, she added, "Well, I went to nursery with his sons, yeah." However, Gemma didn't actually spend much time with the Beckham boys due to her dad's resentment towards Bex. Get the news you want straight to your inbox. Sign up for a Mirror newsletter here. Even when the two footballers were the only Englishmen at Real Madrid with families of similar ages, they did not socialise together. Owen and Beckham played for rival clubs Liverpool and Manchester United but lived nearby in Cheshire and came together to play for England at the 1998 World Cup in France. It was the tournament which saw an 18-year-old Owen break onto the international scene in stunning fashion, but he felt let down by Beckham during their round of 16 tie against Argentina. In a moment of madness, Bex went from hero to zero when he kicked out at Diego Simeone and was sent off. England went on to lose the match during a penalty shootout, so were knocked out of the tournament, and Owen was unable to get over the pain of that night. He described Golden Ball's actions as immature and petulant in a scathing rant in his 2019 autobiography Reboot, proving the grudge remains to this day. Sitting here now, with the benefit of hindsight and perspective, I feel that what David did probably wasn't a red card offence in the first place, wrote Owen. While it was clearly premeditated, it was immature and petulant more than it was violent. But for me, that almost makes it worse. All I can say is that, as I sit here now writing this book, knowing how lucky a player is to appear in one World Cup, never mind more than one, I'd be lying if I didn't say that what David did that day hadn't let every single one of that England team down. Did he deserve the abuse he got afterwards? Certainly not. What human being needs to see his or her effigy being burned? But David let us down, and I still hold some resentment about it today. Following his famous falling out with United manager Sir Alex Ferguson, Beckham moved away from Manchester to Spain in 2003 when he signed a big money deal at Real Madrid. Just 12 months later, he was joined by his England teammate Owen when he also transferred to the Spanish Giants. Having played together for England for many years, many expected they would form a close friendship on the continent as they were the only two Englishmen playing in Spain. However, this wasn't the case, and Owen revealed the pair rarely spoke away from the football pitch and their families were not intertwined. At the time, David and his wife Victoria were parents to Brooklyn and Romeo, who is just a year older than Owen's daughter Gemma. Even though their wives were both feeling lonely in a foreign country without their friends and families around, they did not meet up much, so Gemma didn't spend much time with the Beckham lads. Writing in his autobiography, Owen said, "As much as we ended up living close to David and Victoria Beckham and were two English families living abroad in the same city, there wasn't much in the way of social life as far as them and us were concerned." Given that both Louise and Victoria were quite lonely and both looking after young kids, they'd occasionally see each other while we were training. That was the extent of the friendship, however. This perhaps wasn't a surprise given that, by the time we found ourselves in Madrid together, David and I had even less in common than we ever had. While Posh and Bex adapted to life in Spain and mingled with a number of famous faces, Owen and his wife had a quieter life. He continued, "I certainly didn't like wearing the trendy gear or mingling among socialite company." David and Victoria, on the other hand, were both bona fide superstars in their own right. They were operating on a completely different stratosphere from a social perspective. I never once got the impression I was on the inner circle of David's group of friends. Owen lasted just one season at Real Madrid before returning to England when he signed for Newcastle United, a decision he now says he regrets. When Owen was introduced to the Newcastle fans at St James Park in August 2005, he carried a very young Gemma in his arms. The Love Island star looked adorable in her black and white striped shirt as she clutched a mini football and waved at the singing fans. Do you have a story to share? Email webfeatures@trinitymirror.com.